Hey guys, we're at a place called McKinney Falls in Texas, but we're looking at the RadRhino from Rad Power Bikes. This is the second time I've seen and reviewed this bike, but the technology is actually 5th generation. This is based around the Rad Rover, which is available in North America, but it's spec'd for Europe. And so they've taken this fat tire specific planetary geared motor and they set it for 250 watts. Okay, so that makes this a class 1 electric bike, but they've done some really interesting things with this twist power assist. And I'm gonna get into that a little bit later, but first I wanna walk around the bike and just explain this to you. This is a fat tire electric bike, full size, 26 by 4 inches, and these are co-branded Rad Power Bikes by Kenda, the Juggernaut. It's got a reflective sidewall stripe, it's got puncture resistant casing. These things are pretty tough, and they're very comfortable. You can actually lower the tire pressure, which we've done here, and take it off-road a little bit into sand. I've done it in soft sand actually in Mexico, and I was amazed. It was, you know, I had to go pretty low on the tire pressure, and I only weigh 135 pounds, but I was there with a lot of, you know, taller people, a little bit bigger, and they did fine too. So it's amazing what these tires can do. But if you're someone who's just riding around town, cruising through the neighborhood, it's still going to give you comfort and stability, which is something I think we can all appreciate. But in addition to the fatter tires, they've got this 100mm spring suspension. So that's going to give you some hit. You know, let's say you go off a curb or something like that, maybe a big rock. It's going to take that hit and it's going to smooth it out so your back and neck don't get quite so much pain and soreness. I like that they've gone with a shorter stem here. We've got a couple of spacers right here to bring it up, and then a mid-rise bar which can rotate forward or back. This only comes in one frame size, but by having some of those more upright body position features and then that adjustable handlebar, you know, if this was a flat bar, you really couldn't do much with it, but because it's taller, it means this bike can fit a wider range of people. So I definitely appreciate that. Ergonomic faux leather stitched grips, Velo plush saddle with a handle that comes in handy sometimes when you're moving the bikes. And now they actually have a RadRhino step through. So you can see there's white and black over here. This is for people who might want an even lower standover height. You just easier to get on the bike, to stabilize it. They do weigh quite a bit. These are like 71 pounds versus 69, so a couple pounds different. This is also stiffer, and you'll notice that the battery pack is lower and it's further forward on the frame versus kind of upright near the seat tube. That frame's gonna flex a little bit more, whereas this one's gonna feel stiff and a little bit more performant. So if you're someone who either you feel like this is a masculine design or you actually wanna go off-road a little bit more, this is gonna be a little bit better in a couple of those key ways. The suspension fork, again, it's a spring fork. It's, you know, fairly heavy, but it does have progressive lockout. So see the compression all the way to full lockout. You might want to dial that to locked out if you aren't riding off-road and you don't want to lose any efficiency to bobbing. If you're someone who's a little bit heavier, or maybe you've got the optional front rack installed on this, you can dial in the preload. You preload that spring so you're not losing that travel. Okay, that's definitely cool. We've got this new badge here. Look at these 4 bolts. You got a really solid rack that isn't going to turn when you turn the bike. It's not going to dump when you park it like this. It's nice that they've got an adjustable length kickstand. It stays clear of the left crank arm, so it's not going to get caught up while you're riding, or if you're backing this out of your garage. That's something that happens on a lot of other, you know, less dialed in e-bikes. You know, they've got a middle mounted kickstand and you get pedal lock, and it's just a bit inconvenient. It's not a lot, but those things add up over time. There's also enough clearance for that kickstand. It's not going to interact with that 180mm mechanical disc brake. 180s front and rear. These are Tektro. Yeah, it'd be nice if they were hydraulic, but then you wouldn't get that awesome price point, 1599 euros. So I feel like they've done a good job. And then we've even got a steel torque arm right there. These are aluminum alloy frames, so by having a little torque arm, you're not going to chew into the frame. These are keyed axles that slot up into the dropouts. And look at all these other threaded eyelets. That's to support those optional rear racks, and they're really cool. There's a whole bunch of like platforms. They're child seat compatible. They've got panniers. They've even got an insulated bag. So I feel like they're doing a really good job here. And now they include these plastic fenders stock, so you just get those. They're 110mm wide, which provides plenty of coverage for the fat tires. So it's just a really complete bike in my opinion. And again, you know, integrated lights, for me, that combined with the reflective sidewall stripes is very important, especially for a black bike like this. Like, it looks really nice. You can see all the cables and everything are black and they're internally routed. The fenders are black, the spokes are black, the rims are black. Everything is awesome that way. though I do feel they could have done punched out rims to lighten this bike just a little bit. Yeah, I feel like they've done a pretty good job overall. They've got motor inhibitors on both brake levers, so that's another big feature. You know, we've got the fairly sizable mechanical disc brakes. You're gonna have to pull a little bit harder on that right brake lever because it goes all the way back here. And over time, these housings seat in a little bit, and so you might need to adjust this just to make sure you're not pinching your fingers when you pull these. I like the levers though. They've got an integrated bell. They've got the motor inhibitors like we talked about, so you're never gonna feel like out of control. As long as you're braking, this bike's gonna respond. And at 250 watts, you know, it looks like a big motor. It's fat bike specific, so it's giving those spokes a sturdy bracing angle. It's not like a tiny little thing, but you're really, it's kind of under spec'd a little bit for Europe, and that is all firmware controlled in the controller, which is external, not quite as beautiful as if it was built into the battery or inside the frame, but that makes it cheap. That makes it a lot cheaper to get a replacement battery pack, and these packs are the same from bike to bike. So whether you've got a step through RadRhino or the Mini or even the Rad Wagon or the Rad Runner, they all use the same battery pack. It's a 48 volt 14 amp hour 672 watt hour, weighs about 7.7 pounds, so it's, you know, it's fairly lightweight. You can take that off the bike if you're a commuter and charge it inside, and that way no one can tamper with your bike. It's even got a locking position, so it shuts the battery down so no one can tamper with your display while you're away from the bike, which is very nice because sometimes you don't want to take the battery off, but you don't want people messing with your bike. And this is the European charger. It's the same one they use in North America. Pretty lightweight, weighs roughly 1.1 to 1.5 pounds depending on the additional cable you've got. So they have C13, Type G, Type F. And since they sell this all over the place in Germany, the United Kingdom, Netherlands, France, Belgium, it's really cool that they were thoughtful about this. And I only have 2 of the plugs here, but it's kind of neat to see. And this charger puts out 2 amps, so it can take a little bit longer, roughly 6 hours if your battery is completely depleted, just because it is such a high capacity battery at 672 watt hours. So keep that in mind. I turned the display on earlier on purpose, and I activated the lights so we could talk about this rear light here. It's got a little rubber button on the bottom, and it turns flashing mode on. I love that. So it's solid or flashing. I know it looks like flashing right now. That's just because of the frames per second that the camera is recording in, but it's solid when you're in real life. And then this awesome headlight points where you steer. It's got this big LED light ring and then a more focused beam in the center that's actually, it's pretty good. I've ridden this around in shadier, like darker locations, and it actually lights up the path. In the past, it was a little bit more like help you be seen, and now they've improved that element of it as well because they've cut the plastic away, so from the side this light is a lot more visible than it used to be. See that line right there? Great job. They've even got an aluminum alloy heat sink on top. It's going to dissipate some heat because there's a lot more going on now. It's a lot more LEDs. So I think that's a pretty good overview. I feel like Rad does a really good job, especially at the price point. Like, yeah, there are some trade-offs. You don't have hydraulic disc brakes. It's definitely spec'd down a little bit from the US versions, North America, but that complies with the local regulations. And then the thing they've done really well is set this up with that twist power assist. So I'm going to talk about that, but first I want to compliment these big Welgo pedals. Extra large, very sturdy. I'm glad they just didn't go with plastic or something like that. You know, they offer free shipping, which is also really nice. You're going to need to do a couple things to get this set up, but having things like that, I should also mention, we've got this nice derailleur guard steel. So if they're shipping it or if it tips over, you're not going to be banging up the Shimano Acera derailleur. This is 3 steps up from base level in the Shimano group sets, and it does just fine. It's a good choice for this bike. You'll notice how shiny the chain is, and this freewheel. This is 11 to 34 tooth DNP nickel plated. So the nickel plating isn't gonna rust. It's also a little bit like, it's more slippery. It's a little bit harder, so the chain's gonna shift more smoothly. And having this wide of a spread compared to like 14 to 28 tooth, which is a lot of other freewheels, so having that really big low gear, that helps you get started and climb, which is really important. You know, let's say your battery runs out, or you just want to get a workout and you want to climb a hill. This motor's very capable, but you know, it's just nice to be able to help out and not be locked out of just riding it like a regular bike. And then that 11 tooth sprocket, that's more than enough to hit and maintain 25 kilometers per hour. So anyway, coming back up here, let's turn the bike on. We've got this mode button. We hold it for a second, the display comes to life. There we go. We can see 5 bars on that battery infographic, an odometer, which you can cycle to trip meter by pressing mode over there on the left. We've got speed in kilometers per hour. And if you want, you can hold the up arrow here for a couple seconds to go to average speed and max speed. I'm going to take it back to current speed. Then we've got pedal assist levels at the bottom. It starts in assist level 1, so the bike is hot. You could actually twist that throttle and it would give you a little bit of assist, kind of a walk mode. And again, they call it twist power assist. It's not really a throttle. It's the same as if you press this down button over here and we get walk mode. It's just a lot easier. It's more convenient. And one of the other things it does is it overrides all these levels of assist. So let's say we're in 1, but if you're pedaling and you twist that, it gives you extra power as if you were in level 5. And you can see when I cycle through these, level 5, it would give us up to 250 watts, whereas level 1 only gives us 50 watts. So each level, it sort of gives you a readout of how much power you have access to. And then of course there's 0, and you might say, well, why is there even a level 0? Glad you asked. It's because there's a USB charging port at the base of the display, 1 full amp. You could mount your phone up here and have GPS going, maybe a little stereo system or some lights. I think that's really cool. And then the lights that come on the bike, if we hold up and mode, see a little light icon there, and that's the lights again. And one more really cool feature, whenever you pull the brake levers, not only does it do a motor inhibitor, but it also does bright mode. So I love it. Like, those are the little things that are really delighters for me. No, the display is not removable, but it's fairly well protected there in between the handlebars. Here's your shifting, pretty clear, pretty clean. It's not little trigger shifters, which are my preference, but they didn't have room for those, I think, given this twist power assist thing. So they went with the larger, fairly intuitive, got a little screen. It's fairly easy to interact with too, even if you have gloves on. So if you live in one of those colder northern countries, or maybe you're just taking it out for a romp in the snow. Like, I think that's really cool. Pretty easy to reach these buttons over here. Maybe we should just stop the talking and go for a ride. Hop on this thing. I'm gonna take it to, I actually really like assist level 3. The motor is ramping in pretty smoothly, and while it does make a little bit more noise at those higher levels, it's definitely quieter and more comfortable at the lower ones. And again, you can just override that with the twist power assist thing. So I'm just gonna take off in 3. Very nice. And I started in a higher gear. See how stable this thing is? I started in a higher gear. It would have been better to start in a low gear because the assist kicks in a little bit faster when you're spinning. But with those 12 magnets on that sensor down there, it actually starts and stops pretty fast. I'm going to let you see that again. Pretty sweet. Okay, we got some off-road action. Oh, got a little bit messy back here. Not too bad. Okay guys, from here you can see the 42-tooth steel chainring with that nice alloy guide. It's gonna keep my pants fairly clean, except that I went through the puddle, so I got a little mud splashed up. I love that they got the slap guard because it's gonna keep the black looking black. Otherwise you get these little metal aluminum chips and, you know, makes more noise. I'm gonna keep this in gear because that stretches the chain out and it's not gonna bounce around as much. You can see the derailleur. Maybe I'll shift through a little bit, and I'll ride in assist level 3. Again, that's one of my favorites. It's a little bit smoother, quieter, and I'll override with that twist power assist. It's getting to be evening, and I wanted to show you guys this LCD display, how it kind of lights up at night. And there's the beam, so it's pretty focused. It actually it's pretty nice. It'll definitely help you see where you're going. I still think that the white one is going to stand out the most. It'll be the largest visual footprint, but with the reflective sidewalls on these bikes, they're actually pretty prominent. Maybe the larger full-size ones, even more so than the Rad Mini, because it's got the smaller wheels, you're lower to the ground. Just keep that in mind. I'm wearing an Abus helmet that actually has like a blinker on the back, and that's another way to be seen and be safe. I wanted to do a little ride test here, so Eric, would you mind?
Of course.
Getting some footage? Here we go. That's one of the things that I've noticed about these bikes. They're a little bit heavier, but having the handle back here and pretty good brakes, it feels like you've got control of the bike. And the motor inhibitors is another nice feature. So this isn't really like, a hardcore full suspension mountain bike with like air suspension and stuff, but it's kind of like an SUV. It is trail capable, and it's a lot of fun, especially with that new twist power assist thing, just to give you the extra juice without having to look down and shift. I think it's a really great way to handle kind of the walk mode in the European standard. So I hope you guys get to try one of these out. Well guys, I had a blast checking out the new RadRhino with y'all. Remember, this comes in a step-through version as well. If you're someone who feels a bit intimidated by that high step, it is nice to be able to approach and stabilize these big bikes without worrying about, tipping over or getting hurt. Those big tires are comfortable, they're stable. For the full written review on this and some of the other Euro Rad Power products, I'll see you back at ElectricBikeReview.com. There's even a little comparison tool so you can look at them back to back, which might be neat if you're torn between like the Rad Runner or the RadRhino, or they've got that cool cargo bike and everything. Have fun out there. Love ya. Ride safe. We'll see you next time.